Mike's long-term partner for Radio Parts over the years, and he's one of the really good guys of the industry, so we're always happy to have him come along. Paul has only joined a partnership with Radio Parts over probably the last 12 months. He's from Indie Imports and was a long time person in the industry and well respected in the industry, so these are the people we like to partner with because then we know what quality we're going to get. And obviously training is part of that to get that sort of quality. So we look forward to having a long-term relationship with these people, and it works out very strongly for us. So Paul will run you through where the better end of two-channel works and how it can still be worked in with other areas of the market and even probably still into multi-channel stuff if we want to. So I'll leave you with Paul.
Yeah, no worries. G'day, how you going? Obviously I'm from Indie Imports. We import a lot of pretty good quality electronics, namely one of them which is AMC. We've got Elipson, which is a French company in audio products, as well as iEast. I'm not sure if you guys have mucked around with any of these at the moment, but it's a multi-room audio product. What we are going to start off today with is talk about AMC and who they are and what they're all about. AMC is a two-channel and electronics manufacturer of amplifiers. They are the manufacturer for a majority of the Rotel product, as well as Cambridge Audio, certain Bryson products, and NAD. So they're not just a brand that you've probably only just accustomed to. They've been in the market for a very, very long time, since the 1970s. They mainly build some pretty high-end and powerful two-channel amplifiers, as well as some multi-room audio products. They carry a product that's called an XOI, which is a 4-zone, 4-source amplifier, where you just add keypads to it. Ideal application for something like that is a commercial application, where you've got a bar or a pub or a club or somewhere where you've got some people that are working there that are forever rostering on and off and don't need any streaming device and want something very basic and simple where they can literally select a source and adjust the volume on and off and up and down, obviously with the volume. Having something like that in an AMC or a product that's also very well priced. You're looking at a 4-zone amplifier for around about $1,100. That's going to give you 4 individual zones of music and plenty of power at 50 watts RMS per channel. The advantage with AMC is that they are a high current amplifier. They don't make anything that's low current. So if you want to bridge and run extra speakers off 2 channels, you can, without putting too much load on the amplifier. They do go down, even though they don't state on their amplifiers, they do go down to just on 2 ohm, which is pretty much unheard of with a lot of amplifiers in this price range. If you look at an XIA, if I start with this amplifier, which is an XIA 30, it's a 30 watt RMS amplifier with 30 amp current rating. So in other words, it's you can have an amplifier that's got 1,000 watts or 100 watts, but if the current rating is very low, you're not going to get enough, pardon the pun, but balls to drive your speakers. And it's very important and imperative if you're in a commercial application and you're running multiple speakers, that you want to make sure that this amplifier can run all day, every day and not have any issues. One unique thing about AMC is that their on and off button is actually not on their remote control. Even though it's got an on and off on their remote, it's really only suited for their CD player and their digital tuner. They are designed to be switched on and remain on, and you can leave them on and they don't consume as much power. They only really use power once there's audio playing through it. But the big advantage with these amplifiers is that bang for your buck. If you look at something like this, which is about $600, $599 retail, you've got 30 watts RMS per channel, 30 amp current rating, gold plated terminals, a phono input with a moving coil and moving magnet and moving coil switch, discrete amplification as well, and as you can see, it's pretty well built and a solid construction. Then from that, you've got the XIA 50, which is a similar amplifier with a toroidal transformer, not a square cap. Most of you guys know the difference between a toroid and a square cap, the advantages of having one or the other. Or with toroid, for those who don't, for toroid, which is a round transformer, you tend to get less noise, a lot more efficient power, and slightly higher current as well, depending on what grade the transformer is. But from this model and above, it does go into a toroid transformer and a 50 watt, and then you go up to 100 watts RMS, which is the XIA 100. If you have a look through your brochure there, you'll see that there is an XIA 100 and the 150. The 150 gets a lot of high recommendations and awards throughout Europe. It's AMC as a brand in the US is pretty well known through the commercial market, but a lot of integrators tend to use this product. And if you're in integration and you're installing, it is probably one of the better products to have out there. If you look at on their brochure here, if you have a look, there is a product. I'm not sure if any of you guys do Control 4 or work with Control 4. They actually make amplifiers for Control 4 as well as Crestron. And that is located on the X86 and the XG and the XOI. If you have a look, unfortunately we don't have one here, but if you have a look at the back of that, you'll actually see that amplifier is exactly the same as a Control 4 or a Crestron amplifier, multi-zone amplifier. So as far as the company is concerned, they do make amplifiers for a lot of other manufacturers. So AMC is the original and the genuine item. The other advantage we have with AMC in Australia is that we offer a 48-hour turnaround time in service. So we carry all the spare parts for all the products. So if you've got any issues with the product, we can service it straight away. They do come with a 3-year warranty, both commercial and domestic. So if you've got an issue with it within 3 years, commercially or domestic, again, 48-hour turnaround time, we service that. From then on, really, basically, you know, from moving on from the solid state, they do offer a valve option as well. So they do make valve amplifiers, and they make a hybrid valve. They make valve amplifiers for other companies as well, other manufacturers, but they are an all-round rounded amplifier. We are going to be releasing pretty soon a 2-channel amplifier with a DAB tuner built in, and optical and coax inputs. And it's rated at about 125 watts RMS per channel, and that's going to retail for around about $11.99 retail, which is going to be pretty awesome for something that you're going to have DAB, 125 watts RMS, phono input obviously, and optical and coax input. So if you want to hook it up to a TV, you can, and you can run it as either a 2.1. It's got a subwoofer out as well, but it just gives you everything in the one box. Unfortunately, it hasn't arrived yet. We have got the prototype, but it's arriving in the next month, 4 to 6 weeks. Is there any questions on AMC?
What current rating will that be, you know?
On the X8, the one that's coming out, it's about just under 40 amps. So it's about 38.6 amps current load. So again, massive transformer, big toroidal transformer, individual left and right amplifiers. And very well built, extremely well built. And that's the beauty about AMC, is that you find that the build quality is pretty solid. It's not a cheap, commercial branded amplifier that you tend to buy today. I think as far as value for money, I don't think there's anything that comes near it. And I'm not being biased because we sell it, but we heavily, when we brought the product in, we really looked at the competitors. And me being in the retail industry before being in distribution, I have sold a lot of commercial branded products, and there is nothing that we've come across where you can get an XIA 30 and run 3 speakers on the left and 3 speakers on the right, all running parallel into it, dropping it down to about 3.3 ohms, and this thing just pumps. And it's very important to have something like that, because I find that you're always going to get a customer that's not going to have much money to spend on an outfit that they want to put music. Everybody's got this perception that they can just buy a stereo for $300 or $400 and it's going to sound fantastic. The advantage of having something like this is that you can get them in at an affordable price and then sell them your speakers, your in-ceiling speakers, and then you're still keeping in within their budget and you're still making good margin in it. And that's what we look at. At the end of the day, and you're not going to get priced and shopped around because there's not many retailers that actually sell AMC. We've kept the distribution pretty tight, We're a firm believer of making sure that, you know, everybody, whether it's the installer, the supplier, the wholesaler, whoever it is making some money and having a reliable product, which is more important than anything else. There's nothing worse selling something, you install it, and then you've got a problem. I have to say the failure rate on AMC, according to their figures and from what we've experienced, is about 0.02%, which is pretty unheard of. And being a Taiwanese company, I don't know, I'm not sure if you dealt with a lot with the Taiwanese manufacturing or anything like that, but you find that the Taiwanese do manufacture really good quality products and very reliable. The other thing as well is that AMC are manufacturing other brands, so their quality control has to be good. I've been to the factory. There's a few things obviously we can't disclose, but it's amazing when you go into a factory like AMC, which is massive. It's almost a city scale type factory, and you see all the other brands that these guys make, and you just wonder, wow, you know, I'm buying something that's literally a quarter of the price or half the price, or something that's just rebranded, might have a few knobs that look a little bit more fancier, and you're paying, you know, twice the price. So we're pretty proud of the product. We love the product, and it's affordable. If you have a look at their keypads, I mean, it is pretty old school. You know, it's very standard sort of thing, but it's easy. It works. One Cat5 back into each input on the amplifier, and their multi-zone amplifiers. You can piggyback these volume controls as well. So if you run two volume controls off one zone, so if you've got one on one end of the building and the other at the other end of the building, but we're still controlling the same speakers, you can do that. It's very easy to do that, and it's just running a Cat5 or Cat6 or whatever you want to call it. The other thing as well is that when you do buy the remote control, when you do buy the amplifier that is the multi-zone amplifier, they give you the remote control. They give you the infrared eyes. It's got a built-in infrared repeater. So each keypad has an IR sensor. So there's no extra wiring or anything to do. You just plug the Cat5 from your volume control straight into the amplifier, into the designated zones. So say, for example, you've got a zone 4, you've got zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4 with all the Cat5 inputs. And it's so simple. And where the Cat5 is exactly where the speaker terminal is for the zone. So there's no programming, no setting up or anything like that. It's just simple. And it's important because when you've got an installer who's hard pressed for time, hasn't got time for programming or doing anything like that, these are an easy solution. And all you can do is you can literally connect up, which I'll go into a little bit more, an IE streamer, which is very similar to a Sonos Connect. And you can use one of them as one of the source inputs, and they can stream music, and then they can just select that source on the keypad and adjust the volume. And it's bulletproof, it's reliable, it works. And the real big thing that we find with these now is that we're getting a lot of bars and clubs who have a lot of different type of staff that come in and out. They don't want them to get involved on their networking and alter any settings and start playing any type of music. That it's just simple. You know, you can just select the source and select the volume and switch it on. So there's no real teaching and explaining and having a whole group of people in to teach them and show them how to use it. For the installer, it's the best thing. Is there any questions on AMC? Have you guys all mucked around with the? I'm sorry. Are they all radio? Is it all radio parts here, or any installers? Have you used AMC before? Okay. What sort of amp? If you don't mind me asking, what sort of? Oh, you don't do any? Okay. No worries at all. Well, again, you know, with the installer side of it, there are a lot of brands you can choose from. You know, there's so many products that are out there. I guess the biggest advantage with AMC is that it can handle a load. So if you do get that customer that does buy a pair of speakers for now and then wants to add another pair of speakers, well, you're not having to change it and buy another amp. They can just connect to it and it'll run, no problem at all. Again, they do handle close to 2 ohm. They don't state that. We've tested it and we've had it running. We're running 4 speakers on each channel and no problem at all. Running it all day, every day, it pumps. And the advantage of the fact that you've got a 3-year manufacturer's warranty, both commercially and domestically, which is important. Because a lot of manufacturers will have a 2-year warranty domestically and then a 6-month warranty in commercial. Whereas we offer a 3-month blanket warranty straight across the board, no matter how hard you're using it. Is there any questions on AMC? Nothing. I'll start on with Elipson. Elipson is a relatively new brand that we've just taken on. I believe Radio Parts is looking at the turntables. It's very unique with these.
He's going to water the turntable.
Yeah. It's a very unique setup with Elipson. Unlike a lot of turntables you buy today, a lot of them are made in China. These are made in France. And they're all made in France. Doesn't matter whether you buy the entry level or you buy the high-end level. They're all made in France. They all come standard with an OM10 Autophon needle. That needle's worth about $200, and that's standard with that. They're all belt-driven. They come with a carbon, depending on the level that you're going. This one here is an Omega 100. This has a retail price of about $799. Now the advantage with this, it is a bit different to most turntables. Their turntables start from $399, which gives you a basic turntable with an OM10, but not a carbon fibre arm. Has got their patent pending universal ball joint, which doesn't require any adjustment. It actually bends and runs with the actual vinyl, so you don't get any, you don't have any weight adjustments or anything that you need to set. But it does come with just a standard arm, whereas as you go above, say, $599, $799, and then further on, you do get the carbon fibre arm. They all come with the Autophon 10 needle, all belt driven, and they do have an auto sensing in speed. So if you're not sure of the size of your record, and this is for the person that who hasn't got much experience with vinyl, it can adjust. The speed will adjust to the way where the needle is. It actually adjusts its speed to suit automatically. This particular model is a little bit different. It has a preamp built in, and it also has a Bluetooth device. It actually sends its signal lossless to an amplifier. So if you've got that client that wants to have this in their living area and make it a statement, they do come in black, white, and red, and they want to make it a statement. They can have that in one part of the room while they stream the vinyl to another part of the room. As long as the amplifier's got Bluetooth, you can stream that, and it's full lossless. The other thing with Elipson, which we don't have here, is they also make speakers. They're the inventor of the spherical speaker. So anytime you ever see a round speaker, a ball, these guys were the original developers of it, and they've actually got a patent. They also get a royalty, believe it or not, of every other ball speaker that's out there. So they own the rights for that technology. They also make subwoofers and speakers and amplifiers, but this has been the biggest thing that Elipson has released.
And because of the Bluetooth, which is, there is maybe one or two other turntables that are very expensive.
Yeah.
They're going to hit. And Bluetooth is just in the in word, isn't it?
Yeah.
That ability to stream.
And we're finding that's a big thing. Probably one of the biggest positives with this product is that it's actually made in France, and it's not made in China. Everything that you're buying today, most of the brands out there, most of them come out of China. And if you have...
So the simplicity, you're not having to put weights on and run bits of catgut.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know if any of you sort of live in the city. I live in quite close. There's so many vinyl shops now. I mean, vinyl is here. It's big. It's back.
Yeah, you find if you have a feel of the product, you find that the needle's very, the armature is very light, being carbon fibre. It's very sturdy. It doesn't have the old lever that you can lift up and down. Elipson believe that it's all about the experience, about putting the needle onto the vinyl and actually, enjoying it. But as far as the product is concerned, I mean, again, it's great value. The audio streaming is a very big bonus, especially with the Bluetooth. And being at the price range that it's at, there is really nothing that comes near it.
Is that one with USB as well?
Yes, it does. This also has a USB out, so you can record off the vinyl if you want. And again, that's in lossless sound as well. So it's uncompressed, naturally analog straight to digital recording. These will come with a 3-year warranty. They've only just landed in Australia. The reviews on White Hi-Fi and what's the other?
Well, what Hi-Fi was the big ones I read.
And stereo.
The Star of the Bristol show, which was about a month ago.
Yep.
Came out.
And there was also another one. Is it stereo?
So Hi-Fi Choice?
Hi-Fi Choice. Hi-Fi Choice voted it as the best turntable to reach the market as a newcomer. They've compared it to the Project, the Rigas. They've compared it to most of the other turntables out there. And again, you'll find that a lot of those turntables too tend to give you a lot of the entry-level features. Whereas with something like this, I mean, you're looking at, $399 to get a made in France turntable starting from with no preamp on board, and then $599 with their preamp, and then you jump to $799 and you're getting preamp, Bluetooth, USB, made in France, and and obviously the Autofon needle, which comes standard with it. So we feel we got a pretty good winner on something like that. Any questions with Elipson? These will have a 3-year warranty as well. We'll be offering a 3-year warranty on that. I'm not sure what's the other with all the other brands.
Maybe 12 months. I'd have to double check, but it's 3 years.
And again, with any products that we bring in with Indie, whether it's Elipson, AMC, iEast, we offer a 48-hour turnaround time on repair. No one else can match us with that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've been in retail for a while, and I know when you've got a problem, it can take months. Thankfully, we don't have that issue. We've got spare parts for everything. Everything that we sell, we've got parts for everything. So if there's an issue, we get it sorted.
As well, the huge lift in 2-channel is because of apartment style living. A lot of people are just using a sound bar or sound bass now, because you can't have 7.1, 10.1. But music is making this monumental return. I mean, I moved into an apartment a year ago. It just changes the way you think.
Yeah.
And thank God you have to think like that, because otherwise your neighbours are going to blast you out, and that side's going to blast you out, and it's just mayhem. But 2 channels here, and the simple amplifier can become many things. From that 2-channel amp, you can add a turntable or a CD player. You can stream from it. You can slave it up.
Yep.
There's lots of add-ons on a 2-channel, and it's the vibe of the moment. It really is the vibe.
And you've also got, like, if you going back to the AMC, if you look at something like that, it's a slim unit. You can fit it anywhere. Most of these amplifiers you're buying now are pretty high and bulky, and the packaging is slim as well. So, but it's about giving you the power and the performance in a small package. And again, like what Mike was saying, is that having something that's got Bluetooth. I mean, we're all living, either in smaller homes or trying to downsize, and you're always going to get that customer, or that client that they do want the turntable somewhere else other than being in the room, or they can't fit it. And that gives you the advantage of streaming their vinyl onto an amplifier without losing any sound.
JB is studying vinyl again now.
Yeah, it's a big thing now.
And if you go into op shops, as I do, there's always someone looking through their albums. They're all Doris Day, but everybody's through the albums.
Now you're showing your age, yeah.
The best ones have gone, I think. Yeah.
What, all the Doris Days are gone?
No, Doris. And Val Doonigan, people like that.
Now it leads me to our next product that we're going to show you guys today, and that's iEast Sound Streamer. These are really awesome. I'll pass this around. This is really good build quality, very simple to connect up. If you're familiar with the Sonos Connect, it's exactly the same thing. The difference is that it's got Sabre 32-bit DACs on board. It's designed to play FLAC and high-res files. It's got Tidal on board, obviously Spotify. They've just released control codes for Control 4, for Leviton, HAI, and Crestron as well. These guys are massive. I mean, we believe this is going to be a really big, a big player in the market, even though it's very diluted and there's a million other brands coming out with streaming. I guess the advantage with these is that the price point, it's affordable, it's pretty cheap, and it performs, and it's reliable. I'll pass that around. You can just feel the build quality of it. We find that the reliability on these are fantastic. We have had not one single issue with an M20. I guess the big thing about it as well is, one is the price, but two, it's simple. If you guys have got on board with it, you download the app, and if you want to join the rooms up, it's so simple to join all rooms to run all at the same time. And that's all you basically do is you hold your finger down on the last room. If you've got 4 or 5 rooms, you can just run your finger all the way up to all the rooms, and it actually molds all the rooms together. It's as simple as that. It's very easy to use. It's got AirPlay on board. It's got Google Play as well, which you don't get many on. Most of the other products that you get out there, you've got to download their app to stream music. If the customer doesn't want to use that, and they want to just use AirPlay off their phone, and they've got Spotify, and they've only got 1 or 2 of them, they can just select AirPlay and select that product. You can label each one. So even on AirPlay, it'll come up with master bedroom, study area. It's very, very simple. The biggest thing about it is that it is high-res audio. Comes in a very neat package, and it's at $249 retail. It's really cheap. When you can look at the other competitors that are out there, they all start from around about $299, right up to about $300 to $400. And the best thing about iEast, and we've tested this, now it all depends on the client's router, is that you can have up to 32 zones, which is unheard of. Most units out there, you're lucky to get 8 or 9 zones. If you've got Sonos, obviously it's pretty expensive. It develops its own mesh, but we find that as long as you've got a good router and it's fast enough and they've got enough ports, and we always recommend that if you're going to do up to 32 zones, you hardwire it straight in. You'll find that the units is very capable. We've tested it. Prior to us bringing the product in, we had it on run for 6 months, putting it to its full paces at 32 zones, and it ran comfortably, no problem at all. It was a closed network, obviously, that we had, which is what you're going to have anyway in someone's home, but you'll never run 32 zones. But if you've got that application, and where one of our clients has just finished doing a shopping centre using iEast, and they ran up to about 18 zones of different music, and it's a small shopping centre. It wasn't one of those, Westfields or anything, but it was a small shopping centre, and they ran different music and different things for their clients, and it runs perfectly fine, no problem at all. Again, the advantage with something like that, and with AMC, is that you can buy the AMC XG amplifier, which is an 8-zone amplifier, or it's basically just 8 stereo channels all in one box, and that retails for about $2,000. It's got auto switch on, so if you connect a few of those into that amplifier, even 8 of them, you've got basically a very cheap solution at 8 zones, if you've got that client that wants that. Or you can buy their 4-zone amplifier, which is about $1,000 in the AMC, and 4 of them, and you're still getting it under $2,000. So, I mean, your competitors, the brands that are out there that are competing against it, there's really no competition. And you're getting proper amplification. You're not getting basic digital amps on the AMC using the M20. Then we've got the AM160. Basically, this is a digital amp. It's 80 watts per channel into 4 ohms. It's got plenty of power. A lot more than probably most of the competitors that are out there. It's got a separate power supply, which we find is beneficial, because if you've got a tight space, there's not much ventilation. You can put that in a tight space, and then you can put the power supply somewhere else. Again, this is very similar to the M20. Offers exactly the same thing. You can have 4 of these and 4 of the M20s on the same network, and it picks up exactly the same. So there's no difference as far as the apps or anything like that concerned. It's basically all it is it's a powered version, which I'm sure you've seen with all the other brands that are out there. Again, with these are all full high def audio. So you're playing, your FLAC files exactly the same as the M20, but it's at $449 for an amp, which I find is fantastic. Plenty of power. It's got a separate volume control on there. It's also got a USB input, and it's got an auxiliary input as well, which you can actually connect up if you want, like a TV or anything. So if you've got a client that wants an amplifier, that wants to run a pair of speakers, wants to listen to their TV off those pair of speakers, well, you can, and stream music. These all come with a 12-month warranty, but in our experience, we've had no issues at all with the product.
What's the resolution of the sound?
192. Up to 192. They do claim a little bit higher. We've never really pushed it with anything too high, but they do claim up to. They do definitely do 192, no problem at all. There is a new software coming out for the AM160, which they're going to be releasing. It's going to open up a few more avenues with because Apple's getting into high-res audio in a bigger way than what they are at the moment. And they're releasing a software patch to access all of that at full res. The beauty about these guys, and just a quick story about who these guys are. These guys were the original manufacturers for the electronics for Sonos. So they've come away from Sonos. Unfortunately, they've had a bit of a bad business dealing with Sonos and have gone, well, you know what, we're going to develop our own. So there's a lot more to come with these guys. I don't have it at the moment, but there is, if you just picture almost like a black box like that with a couple of antennas designed to fit into, your Hills cabinet where you've got all your data points and your phone points and aerial points. They've got amplifiers that will fit into a small, thin cabinet. So if you've got a hub area where you keep all your wiring and all your local ports all going into one area, you can just run all your speakers and everything into that and mount these on a wall. Exactly the same as what you would be mounting a patch panel or anything like that. And it puts out 80 watts per channel. And you can link them all up, put them all into a nice rack and close it all off. So they've actually just released that. We've got them coming in the next couple of weeks. There is also another unit that they're bringing out, which is a keypad, an LCD keypad that mounts onto a wall. It's got the amplifier. It's basically an AM160, but it's actually got an LCD screen and mounts in the wall, so you can run your two speakers straight into this. All you need is power. It's got Wi-Fi on board as well as hardwired Ethernet. And then you've got an extra zone as well, and you've got a client that can just go up to the wall and select the music, or just use their phone and stream to it. So there's a lot more products coming out. They are a relatively new company. We've been pretty stoked with the response we've had with it. Again, we're offering, I believe, a very similar solution, but slightly better because you've got high-res audio on board as standard, and very easy to use. Very easy to amalgamate into other software. Do you guys sell automation controlling systems as well? You don't sell Control 4 or anything like that? Okay. Well, you can actually drag and drop their app into that. So if you do have that custom installer that's going to ask you those questions, well, you can mold it into it. So you can just literally pull up the Control 4 app or a Leviton app, and their app will be molded into that. So you're not going in from one app to another app to another app just to get access to it. Unlike with Sonos, where with Sonos, you've got their app and that's it. You've got to use their app. These guys have got drivers and controllers for everything else. So I think for the custom installer, this is probably the best thing for them. Again, the good thing about it is that they're $449, plenty of power, extremely reliable, and they don't get hot, and they play high-res audio. Is there any questions on the highest?
Is there a demo mode in the app if you download the app? Is there a demo?
No, there isn't, to be honest with you. That's probably one of the only things that they haven't got. Most of the products that you sell, whether it's Onkyo or Yamaha or anything, they've got a demo mode and you can see that. No, that's a really good question. No, they don't have one. My suggestion is always, is to have one set up. You don't have to, you can have a couple of zones. They're relatively cheap to set up, but to have a couple of zones and to show a customer. What we've found, because we've sold pretty much most of the multi-room audio's products, while I've been in retail, we've sold a lot of them. What I've found with this is that the power, the sheer power out of this little box is phenomenal. We've ran some, $2,000 pair of bookshelf speakers off this, and it's got power. The other advantage I find, and I find is pretty unique, is that the connection terminals are pretty good. In the packaging, you get the banana plugs for the amplifier. So if you've got that customer that wants to hardwire or use banana plugs, it all comes with it. But the real big advantage I find is about three things. Obviously the high-res audio, the power, and the fact that you can just mount them anywhere. They don't get hot. It's the power supply, obviously, that gets warm, but the power supply's got a long, a 1.5 metre cable that you can just sit it anywhere you want and just leave it. You can even leave this in a roof. The other thing which I haven't pointed across with both products, with all of the IEs, is that if you have a power failure and everything shuts down, when you go to boot up, there's no reprogramming, there's no pressing of buttons to reconfigure. It just goes back to the way it was. So you're not sitting there mucking around. So that's where we find a lot of installers love these, because they can literally adjust the volume to halfway or 3/4 way, throw it up in the roof and just leave it. The unit that we're getting pretty soon, which is basically the one that actually mounts into a cabinet, into a comms area, those ones there, they're designed to be run anywhere. You can put them anywhere you want. You can put them underneath the floorboards, you can put them up in the roof. They don't get hot. They've developed this new technology where it's using a very, very efficient power supply on it, which basically it's a digital power supply which doesn't really use any power and runs very, very low in voltage, only 5 volts. So that's going to be coming pretty soon, and we'll have that in the next couple of weeks. The good thing with this company as well is that they're going to have speakers as well. So if you want to complete an ecosystem, and they're going to be priced at around about from $199 to $299, and you're going to have multi-room audio speakers. So if you've got that client that wants an outdoor area or just wants something portable and they want to take it around, well, they can. And we'll have that pretty soon as well. So the company's actually going to get, they are working on a lot more products. There's a massive roadmap for these guys. And in the US, they're just starting to grab traction now. And they're becoming very, very popular. So we believe it's, I think because of the price point, I mean, there's no point in having the same thing and the same price as your competitors. You've got to offer an incentive for people to buy. The fact that this is, close to 50% off their nearest competitor, and offering high-res audio and all the rest of it, we think it's going to grab some pretty serious traction.
USB on both those, is that like a USB host port for media? Or?
Yes, that's right. So if you just plug up a USB, whether a USB stick or a hard drive, just plug it straight in, you can just stream music. The good thing about it is if you do plug the USB into it, you can just play music into that zone, or you can take that USB and then stream it to the other zones, just by linking all the rooms. And that's the real big thing that I find, is that it's so easy to use. And I'm not being biased or anything like that. I've used all of the apps that are out there and all the control systems, and most of them are pretty easy to use, and they're pretty user friendly. But we just find with the IES, you drag it across, you select what music with it, and it simply says it. My music, my phone music if you're using your phone or your iPad, and then it just says your computer, my computer, and then it says Tidal, Spotify. There's nothing too fancy about it. It's just very basic, and it's got a dial on there, so you can either use your finger to turn the dial to up the volume, or you can just press the button on the side. And again, it's just easy to get all the zones working. Very easy to label all your zones. One thing that's pretty unique, I don't know how you guys, I don't know what sort of clientele you get, but they've actually got languages, so you can actually change the language of the menu system as well, and all the icons and everything that's on there. And the biggest thing is the Chinese. It's actually got Chinese language on there. And we've found that because we've got a lot of clients that are Chinese, and they love it, because it's like they're using something that back at home. So everything's multilingual, which I don't think I've seen that in most of the products that are brought here into Australia.